Juliana Pasquarosa reveals moment she knew Grant was hers. March 25, 2025. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation news fans. Juliana Pasquarosa has revealed the moment she knew Grant Ellis was made for her. The two got engaged on the finale of The Bachelor last night. Fans were shocked to see how Grant treated his other prospect, Lydia. However, Juliana and Grant seem to be happy together. She has gone into details about their relationship and how she knew he was the one. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Grant Ellis fails as a bachelor in fans' eyes. Grant Ellis was on Jen Tran's season of The Bachelorette. Fans were ecstatic when he was announced as the next bachelor. There were more applications for a season than ever. However, once the season started, fans realized that Grant was not the guy they thought he was going to be. In fact, he rubbed viewers the wrong way. He tried to promote his music career, and it was boring for viewers to watch. He also upset people when he blindsided Lydia last night on the finale. Grant told Lydia that she was his #1 connection and that he loved her. However, when it came to picking the woman for him, he chose Juliana. Juliana Pasquarosa reveals moment she knew he was hers. Juliana Pasquarosa has revealed the moment she knew Grant Ellis was the man for her. You could tell there was a bit of an instant spark. I think it was in his eye contact and his body language when I got out. He was a lot taller and a lot more handsome in person. The instant connection that we had, I had no doubts. I think I knew from night one that you were my man, but I was just trying to play the game and be fair and open-minded. I started to feel really secure that you were the man that I was hoping you would be. I think it really just solidified that I was allowed to be vulnerable and be met with such compassion. That's when I was like, okay, I'm locked in. Everything fell into place. Feeling like I had such a good backing from my family, and then finding out it was Grant, who was #1 on my list of who I was hoping it would be. The two seem to be happy together since their engagement. It is currently going better than it did with Jen Tran and Devin Strader. It seems as though Juliana's late grandmother helped her a lot in this process. There were qualities in Grant that she had in herself. This made Juliana feel as though her grandma had led her to Grant. Juliana and Grant seem to be loving their lives as fiancés. However, fans are not over how Grant blindsided Lydia during the finale. There is a lot of controversy over how Grant did as the Bachelor. What do you think about Juliana and Grant? Do you like them together? Were you shocked? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this. The world knew Juliana Pasquarosa as a social media sensation, a business mogul, and the embodiment of effortless glamour. But what they didn't know was the story behind her most prized possession, love. Specifically, the love of one man, Grant Kensington. Their relationship had been a subject of endless speculation, a swirling vortex of tabloid headlines and viral TikTok conspiracy theories. Was it all for show? A publicity stunt? Or was there something deeper beneath the polished Instagram posts and carefully orchestrated red carpet moments? Juliana had never spoken in depth about the exact moment she knew that Grant was hers, until now. It was the summer of chaos, the summer that changed everything. Juliana had been balancing the launch of her new cosmetics line, a grueling international tour, and the constant pressures of being under the public microscope. Her schedule was relentless, and her patience was thin. Grant had been by her side through it all, but even their closest friends sensed the cracks beginning to form. You two are like fire and gasoline, her best friend, Ellis, had warned one night over wine. It's passionate, but it's dangerous. Juliana had laughed it off then, but the words haunted her. She loved Grant fiercely, but deep down, she feared love wasn't enough. He was a brooding enigma, a self-made billionaire who had grown up with nothing and built an empire from the ground up. Their worlds had collided in a way that felt like fate, yet something always felt precarious, like they were dancing on the edge of an inevitable disaster. And then came that night. The moment, the certainty. It was a gala in Paris, an event dripping in opulence and exclusivity. Juliana was dressed in a gown worth more than most people's mortgages, her diamonds flashing like liquid fire under the chandeliers. Grant, devastatingly handsome in his custom-tailored tuxedo, had been unusually quiet all night. There had been whispers, a woman from his past, a scandal waiting to explode. Juliana hadn't dared to ask, not yet. The tension had been unbearable. The weight of their secrets, their fears, their unspoken words, and then, like a spark igniting an inferno, the dam broke. Juliana had found him outside, away from the prying eyes of the media. The night air was cool, but her skin burned with frustration. "Just tell me the truth, Grant," she had demanded, voice raw with emotion. "If there's something I need to know, say it now." For a long moment, he had just stared at her, those dark eyes unreadable. And then, in a move that shattered everything she thought she knew, he had taken her hand, placed it over his chest, and whispered, "There's no one else. There has never been anyone else. It's always been you." The certainty in his voice, the way his heart pounded beneath her palm, it was in that moment that she knew with an unshakable clarity that no rumor, no scandal, no tabloid lie could ever come between them. She had been afraid of love's fragility, but in that moment she saw its strength. And from that night on, there was no doubt. Juliana finished recounting the story, her eyes shimmering with a secret kind of joy. People think love is about grand gestures and perfect fairy tales, but it's not. Love is knowing, really knowing, that no matter how hard things get, no matter what the world throws at you, there's one person who will never let go. The interviewer, spellbound, could only nod. The world had always known Juliana and Grant as a power couple, but now they knew the truth. She hadn't won Grant over with beauty, wealth, or fame. She had won him in a single moment of raw, unfiltered honesty. And that moment had changed everything. The conversation flowed effortlessly. Art, business, travel, nothing was off limits. It was the kind of interaction that felt natural, as if they had known each other for years. By the end of the evening, he had casually slipped his card into her hand, an unspoken invitation for something more. But Juliana wasn't one to be easily swayed. She had worked too hard to build her career to be another name on a billionaire's list of conquests. So she waited. The tension builds. Over the next few months, their paths continued to cross. Private dinners, charity galas, whispered conversations in corners of lavish ballrooms. Each encounter was more intense than the last. Grant was persistent, but Juliana remained guarded. She had seen too many stories of women who fell too fast, only to be left shattered in the wake of powerful men. She wouldn't be one of them. Yet there was something different about Grant. He never pushed, never demanded. Instead, he simply showed up, proving time and time again that he wasn't going anywhere. The moment she knew, the night it all changed was nothing short of cinematic. Juliana had received news that her gallery's biggest investor had pulled out at the last minute. The entire exhibit she had been working on for a year was on the brink of collapse. Devastated, she wandered aimlessly through the rain-soaked streets of Manhattan, feeling utterly defeated. Her phone buzzed. "Grant." "Turn around." Confused, she did. There he was, standing under the glow of a street lamp, an umbrella in one hand and an undeniable warmth in his eyes. Without a word, he wrapped the umbrella around both of them, pulling her close. "I've heard what happened," he murmured, "and I want you to know, you're not alone in this." Tears welled in her eyes, but she fought them back. She wasn't used to vulnerability. "I don't need saving," she whispered. "I know," he said, "but I'll stand beside you anyway." And that was the moment. Not when he had charmed her at a gala, not when he had dazzled her with expensive dinners, but in this quiet, rainy night, when he simply chose to be there. That was the moment she knew Grant was hers. A love that defied odds. From that night on, their love story unfolded like a masterpiece. There were challenges, Grant's high-profile life, Juliana's fierce independence. But through it all, they chose each other again and again. Because sometimes, love isn't about grand gestures. Sometimes it's about showing up when it matters the most. And for Juliana Pasquarosa, that made all the difference.